I got to give a big shout out to Kai Cenat, who is not only a fellow from the Bronx, but just murdering the internet. And I think he's just like a cool dude. Like everybody who's a streamer or like a YouTube vlogger, like even like Logan Paul, we came to know as like a nice guy, but like he always had that air about him of like being like a douchebag, you know. And like Jake Paul is kind of an asshole, and Aiden Ross seems like a total prick, and a lot of these guys, for whether it's true or not, seem to like rub people the wrong way. And I don't get any of that from this dude. He is just literally goofing off in his basement and making, I can't even imagine how much money, while hanging out with all of the coolest, most famous people in the world. Did we talk about it on this show? Where I think the thing that we lose as guys when we grow up the most that sucks is sleepovers. You can't have a sleepover once you're an adult. If you're sleeping over at your homie's house, you're fucking weird, right?
I was going to say, I don't
it's awesome, but you would not want the world knowing that it's just like, yeah, we have a sleepover together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would be like, you know.
Like, I slept at my buddy's house this weekend.
Right, but you wouldn't call it a sleepover. It's like I went to visit him and I stayed there. Yeah. But if it was just like, if I just hit you up, you know what it is? There can't be travel involved. If we live in like the same city and I was like, you want to just come sleep at my house tonight?
Yeah.
You'd be like, it'd be cool, it'd be fun. But it'd be like, that's fucking weird. This is what he does. He has some of these guys sleep over at his house. And he talks about it sometimes. He mentions it like, you know, like blah, 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 sleepover. Like he just throws it in there. Like it's so normal to him. He's just talking about sometimes the stars sleep over my house and sometimes they don't. And they just fucking goof around and have like and it's all infectious. Like when him and Drewski were doing it, it was like I couldn't stop laughing. And Kevin Hart, props to him because, you know, Kevin Hart's worth $1 billion and, you know, he can pick whatever sort of media he does and does not want to do. And was fully on board.
I was just saying, he doesn't choose not to do a lot.
He does a lot. But like where I feel like I can see like when he's just taking pictures for Fabletics for men, I think he's just like cashing a check. This was like he rolled in and was like committed to this. Like I'm not just here.
He's because it's the latest fucking thing. Man. I am so happy I've been Team Kevin Hart forever. Yeah. I think I talk about Ride Along all the time. I watch Ride Along all the time. I think I like his movies. Yeah. I think he's funny. I think he's incredibly nice. We always say he's like one of the best people at being a celebrity.
He's a charmer for sure.
Every time he sees us, he's like, "You guys get funnier every time."
Yeah,
and we're like, "Thank you so much." Also, you don't remember talking.
You don't even know who
you can't possibly remember talking.
You might remember like those are the two white guys, but that's it.
But he also, I actually saw. I'm glad we're talking about it because I saw a clip of him the other day. He won the Mark Twain Award.
Mark Davis Award is a different award.
Mark Davis Award for thinking you got everyone pregnant.
The Mark Davis Award is succeeding in life like fantastically, despite looking like a creature from Lord of the Rings. He does deserve an award for that.
But the
Mark Twain Award.
Mark Twain Award.
What is that, by the way?
It's just like it's a comedy award. It's the person who did a great thing in comedy that year.
Got it.
And I watched a clip of Lil Dicky talking about it, and it was so cool. Because Lil Dicky was kind of making fun of, kind of calling, but doing it in a nice way, kind of calling Kevin Hart an asshole, and Kevin Hart was just laughing. He's right. So I'm going to butcher this. I apologize, but Lil Dicky told a story about how when he was a fairly young rapper, definitely established enough that he was getting this gig, but he got a gig to perform at one of the Vegas pool parties. And he said, and for some reason, 100 millionaire, billionaire Kevin Hart had decided to have his bachelor party at that pool party. And he said, I'm up there, I'm doing my set, and the crowd just roars. And I think I must have done something cool.
I'm killing it, yeah.
And I look to the side, and Kevin Hart has gotten on stage and has a microphone. And he's like, and for me, a kid who grew up in Philly, a comedian, I idolized Kevin Hart. That was an incredible moment where I was like, this is so fucking sick. Like, an idol of mine just jumped on stage with me. It's so cool. And he said, and it wasn't for years. It took me to process what had really happened, that Kevin Hart is so entitled that he just jumped on stage with an artist he never met before and was like, this is a fine thing for me to do. And because of Kevin Hart, he's dying. He's like, I know, you're right. And I thought it was just so cool that Kevin Hart did that, and also acknowledged like that was kind of fucking ridiculous that I did that.
Did you see what Nick Cannon did to him?
No.
Nick Cannon, who doesn't really get enough credit. Like I think Kevin Hart got his start on Wildin' Out, and so like Nick Cannon.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think Nick Cannon.
How old is Wildin' Out?
I think Nick Cannon's a big part of
like
Kevin Hart's
Wildin'
story.
Out predates 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I think Kevin. At least I've heard that Nick Cannon like gets credit for a lot of, or deserves more credit for Kevin Hart's career.
Really?
Maybe I'm wrong. But I thought.
When did Wildin' Out start?
4-Year-Old Virgin is old. That's pretty old, so maybe not. But maybe, whatever, popularizing it. It's probably on like season fucking 20 though, no?
It started in 2005.
That's probably right
So
around.
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So Nick Cannon is there, and he's doing some sort of hosting, presenting, and then he's like bringing out our next speaker or whatever it is there, and he's like, him from his famous stand-up Delirious, The Nutty Professor, blah, 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 and he's just rattling off everything for Eddie Murphy, and everyone's kind of like, oh shit, and then he's like, Eddie Murphy's not here for you. Get the fuck out of here. I'm here for you. Sit down. Sit your ass down. It was great. But like while you're winning the Mark Twain Award, like in the same week, he's at the Kai Cenat live stream to just be like, we're gonna play video games and fuck around.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kevin Hart realizes like that there is value in that for his career, because these guys have it made. When people talk about how we have the dream job, this is it. If we could do this, if we were young, cool, and black.
I think that's what every generation does to the next generation. That's the dream
but
job.
What can get better than just literally hanging out with your boys and getting like this is there still is like we have to do this show or do this thing. This is just like it's like if our live streams were getting or if our game streams were getting millions of viewers and it was just us watching the games.
Are you saying Kai Cenat doesn't sit there in silence for 3 hours and occasionally scream?
And that's why I do give him props. Like as much as it's like you're just quote unquote just hanging out in your basement, it's like to keep the energy and keep people engaged for an entire night. If you're doing one of these sleepovers, it's fucking crazy. So shout out to both those guys because that's like kind of a cool young and older coming together.